Don't get bitter, get better. You're listening to the right episode of the Loan Officer Leadership Podcast, powered by the Mortgage Marketing Animals. I'm your host, Steve Kyles, and Carl White and I today have a great topic that's going to help you in your business, really circled around don't get bitter, get better. All right, man. Well, it's going to be good. We've got just a solid topic, Carl. What are we talking about?
And you know, here's the thing. This one might not get released. Right. So Steve and I are having this conversation today.
So let's hit the record button, man.
We might not release this one. So we'll see. If you're hearing it, we released it. And if you're not hearing it, well,
we didn't release it.
it's the tree that fell in the woods and nobody heard it. Right.
There you go. There you go.
So somebody put on the Loan Officer Breakfast Club Facebook group. By the way, if you're not part of the Loan Officer
that's great.
Breakfast Club,
thriving.
Just go to Facebook, Loan Officer Breakfast Club, or go to loanofficerbreakfastclub.com, and it will give you the link to join it's free, the Facebook group page. I think it's like 18,000 loan officers. Super cool. But anyway, so somebody posted this question. I thought we'd discuss it here for a few minutes.
Okay.
And this is going to be controversial, but Steve, we have to do what we always do and just totally tell the truth. And for me, I've got this thing like I love you enough.
I'm willing to
I'll risk our relationship to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Right. So keep that in mind here as we talk about this. So here's the question, and it's a great question. Has anyone ever had another loan officer call a buyer? So Steve, I've got this happened to somebody. He's got a buyer. They're closing in 10 days. Another loan officer called him. I don't know. Maybe it was a trigger lead.
Yeah.
I don't think it was, though. I don't think it was true. I think it was a local lender, and it sounded like it was a purchase deal, and the other lender somehow found out, whatever. Anyway, so I had another loan officer call my buyer. So, right, it's a purchase 10 days before closing.
Wow.
Kind of threw me under the bus, said they were going to beat my pricing, put seeds of doubt in their head about me closing on time. How do you handle it? I called her up, which is the other loan officer, him or her, doesn't matter, right? But it was her. Called her up and asked, in what world do fellow loan officers pull this? I don't want to live in that world. It feels so wrong. So let's have an honest conversation here.
Hey, well, first off, you and I both can feel that gut punch. I mean, it doesn't matter how many loans you're closing or not. Every deal matters. And the first thing I think about, Carl, is this: the very first thing I just wrote down is you can get better or you can get bitter. And I think before you even take a first step, you got to just look at it and say, man, first off, not because Carl, have you ever talked to somebody and it's like every realtor does this, every loan officer, it's like every and always and never.
Big words.
Yeah, you can't overcome them. And so I've talked to loan officers that are absolutely bitter and literally great loan officers that over time through situations like this have become bitter. And then they're struggling saying, it's almost like you're self-destructing.
I always get shopped. Everybody shops.
And I hate it when those agents
dog eat dog.
Yeah. And I can't stand those agents because you know what? All they want is, and here's what I would say. You got to make a resolve in your heart. Number one, I'm going to get better. So every time something negative happens, I always step back and say, okay, what's my responsibility? What could I have done different? And what could I have done better? And then sometimes, Carl, when you take an honest assessment of it, you may look at it and there are times where there's really nothing I could have done different or better. Genuinely, I followed the play. I ran it. There's not anything I would have done different. It's just an anomaly. Like, Carl, I could tell you in 21 years, I don't know that I've ever had a loan officer do that. However, if I did, it's so rare that's not every loan officer. I know in our city, there's such a camaraderie with competition. We're not in competition. We call each other collaboratives. And even in what,
though, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know, man. I'm thinking, which is, again, we might not release this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sitting here thinking, every time somebody buys their Chevrolet, they didn't buy a Ford.
Yeah.
Every loan that you do, Steve, and I know you do loans all over the country, right? Yeah. You and your branch, you're a nationwide branch, or nationwide branch. That every loan that you guys do, I didn't.
Yep.
Right. Every loan I did, nobody else did.
That's right.
Right. And you and I are, we're
Yeah.
we're big, right?
Yeah.
That's the wrong way of saying it.
We're
We
doing a
close a
lot.
lot of loans,
Yeah.
right?
A
Our
lot of
teams
loans.
close collectively a lot, like a whole lot. And so every time somebody goes to McDonald's, they didn't go to Burger King.
Mm.
And there's actually, I'm not a huge fan of either one of those, by the way. I think they serve poison. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Um, there's a McDonald's here down the road,
Yeah.
and there's a big billboard. Dude, it's so funny. There's a big billboard right over
Come on.
the McDonald's,
Shut up.
and the billboard says, "When you're ready to have it your way, drive half mile further on the left." Yeah, true story.
Right above the McDonald's. Isn't
Right
that
above the
funny?
McDonald's,
Yeah, that's great,
right?
man.
And you know, that's just
Competition, man.
that's
That's
just
just it.
competition. Now,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
one to throw people under the bus, right? That's not my
Yeah.
style, right? And I'm not one, if you're already doing a loan with loan officer Larry, I'm not going to call that one,
Yeah.
right? I'm just not, right? Loan officer, he already pulled the credit, whatever. But but if somebody does that, say to me, right, and
Yeah.
calls one of our people, I get it. Like, I'm not going to the nerve. Yeah, I'm just not. I understand why this person's upset, and I'm not saying that they shouldn't be,
Right.
but I'm just saying, like,
It is
brother,
a
it's business.
competition, and
Yeah, it's
yeah,
competition.
it is
It's
business. Yeah.
everybody that
Yeah.
gets a loan through me, they didn't do it through you, and vice versa. And that's just how this works,
Mm.
right? Now, if you're hiding outside the bushes and getting the tag numbers of everybody that pulls in my parking lot
Yeah.
and start calling them, that's kind of funky,
Yeah.
right? So, and I don't know where the line is, like, on this stuff, but to me, I would do a couple things. So, number one, go get more.
That's a great.
Go get more.
Yep. Go get more.
Dude, this happened. This happened. Awesome. Go
Yep.
get more.
Yep.
Go get
Yep.
more. Go
Yeah.
get
More
more.
solves in today's environment. More solves
More so, yeah.
almost all the
I
problems.
guarantee out of all the loans my branch closed, and I
Mhm.
guarantee out of all the loans your branch closed this month, I guarantee this incredibly likely happened to one of us
Yeah.
this month
Yeah.
in our branch. Might not happen to you, but in our branch,
Sure.
in my
Sure.
branch,
Oh yeah.
for sure, somebody lost a loan. Out of the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds
Yes.
we're doing every month, that somebody lost one much like this. Go get more.
Yeah.
And the reason why we don't know about that particular situation,
Because we
Steve,
get a
because
lot
it
of
was one
loans.
out of hundreds.
Mhm.
So it's not that each one doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter as much,
Mhm.
right? If I
That's
lose
good.
one pair of socks, not a big deal unless I've only got one pair of socks. Then it's a big deal if I lose a sock. But if I've got a whole drawer full of socks, not that each one isn't important, but it's not
As important.
as
Yeah.
important, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
number two, go get more. Number one, go
Number
get more.
one's go get more.
Number two, what are the kinks in my armor
Mm.
that my
Hey.
competition would
Yeah.
go through? In other words, if I was my competition, where would I jab Carl? Where's Carl's weak spot? Where's my weak spots that my competition has room to chisel at me at?
Hey, let me add something to this, because that's where I was going to go after we talked about getting better and better, and then it's like, hey, go get more. Here's the thing, Carl. I wonder on that client, and we don't know all the details, but Carl, if they were doing from the very beginning of the process, when they got the lead, did they touch the lead, touch the partner? Were they doing their pre-approved and looking calls? When they went under contract, did they do a solid handoff call to set expectations? Was the loan officer doing their Just Ask Tuesday update? Because I think, remember this, in the population, over 60% of the population are high S's. They don't want to change. They don't want to make a move. They just want to be led well. And so I think as we, what are the kinks in my armor, which is number two, I wonder if there are things in the process that could have been done better to make that client feel so secure that when another loan officer reached out, they're like, are you kidding? I know exactly where we're at. I know the pace of the file. We're on time. We're on track for a smooth and flawless closing. We got 10 days to close. And one of the scripts I'd probably have dropped in here is, hey, listen, a lender's failure to perform will cost you thousands of dollars. And so there's little things process-wise that could create so much security that somebody's saying the risk of leaving versus the gain of staying is not worth it. And I wonder if that's one of the kinks that couldn't be worked on.
I like that. I like that. So number one, go get more.
Yep.
Number
Number two,
two, what are the
what are the
kinks in my
kinks?
armor that
Yep.
people could jab at,
Yep.
right? Because everybody's got kinks. Me,
Everybody.
you,
Everybody.
Apple,
Everybody.
McDonald's,
Yep.
Nike,
Yep.
Walmart, everybody's got kinks, right? And number three, and this might be kind of in the same, why wouldn't somebody work with the people that aren't working with me are the people that, which it's almost the same as number two, but somehow it's a little different in my head. The people that aren't working with me, how come?
Ooh, yeah.
The people that aren't working with me, how come? So the loans that's in my here, you know what? That's almost a separate topic as I'm sitting here thinking about it. But let's run that bunny hole in just for a second. So Steve,
Yep.
you live in Houston, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Your branch is nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So here I got one. So
Yeah.
So you've got a branch in Florida, right? You've got loan officers here in Florida where I'm at, right?
Yep.
There was a loan here in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And my guess is your branch didn't get that loan. Right? How come?
Yeah.
Real question. How come?
Well, my first thought is it may not have known the person. I may not have had
That's
a loan
it.
officer.
That's it. They didn't know about you.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's like, why wouldn't somebody work with me?
Oh, they don't know who we are.
They don't know who you are.
Yeah, I don't have a presence in your neighborhood.
Which is a whole different topic, but that'd make an interesting episode. Maybe we'll stop at this point because that's so why wouldn't somebody work with me? You know what? That's a total episode. We'll do the next episode. List the 5 reasons why somebody won't work with me.
Okay,
so
that's going to be our next
that'll be a
one.
good number. No,
yeah.
So anyway, so back to this one. So first of all, it's okay to be upset.
Yeah.
Right. Second of all, go get more.
That's it.
You know, because to say, hey, I don't want to live in a world, you know, where there's competition. Hey, I got some breaking news to you.
I think I like your perspective on that, man. You know, for me, it's like, hey, we don't take from others, but you know what the reality is? It's a competition. The best guy's going to win. I mean, and it's like the best girl's going to win, and it's like whoever's hungrier, you're going to win.
So I get all these. I see these Facebook ads.
Yeah,
you know, you can click on and say, why am I seeing these ads?
Yeah.
So most of the Facebook ads I see directed to loan officers.
Yeah,
they're targeting my business page.
Yeah.
So hey, all these loan officers that Carl has I don't know. I hate to say the word attracted, but you know what I'm saying. Like we made this group or whatever is run my ads to Carl's people.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, whatever. It's all good. Yeah. Right. It's like, hey, that's just how it works. Right. Yeah. They're literally sitting in my driveway, in my parking lot, writing the tags of the cars that's parked in my parking lot. Yeah. I think it's kind of uncool. Right. I wouldn't do that. Right. Yeah. And some of these people, you know, like it's people that I know. It's like, dude, I would never sit in your driveway and write down the tags of the people, you know, in your restaurant and then start calling. It's just not my style, but I get that, right? It's just like, it's just the way it is. And I'm not mad at those people. I don't know. I look at it and go, well, gosh, why don't you get people to pull into your parking lot? Like, I don't know, but it's all good, right? Yeah. Like, it's just the way that it is.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to live in a world where people are advertising to the group. No, dude, that's how it works. Mm-hmm. Right? It's just the way that it is. And I think, you know, it's like, well, I don't know. It's just the way that it works. And I think it's all good. And I think just go get more. And I might have shared this before. I love your don't be bitter.
Yeah.
Get better. Don't be get bitter, get better.
Yeah.
So frankly, when I see people doing that, I go, all right, well, what's the kinks in my armor? Yeah. And I strengthen, I reinforce those kinks, right? And have a better suit of armor. The other thing is I never forget, and I think I've shared this with you, and we probably talked about this a couple of times on the podcast in the past, but it warrants bringing up again. The time I was doing a loan for a dentist, and we're 2 weeks into it, not too far from closing, getting along great. Dentist calls me up, said, hey, Carl, man, I don't even know how to say this, but I'm moving my loan to another loan officer.
Mm.
I said, well, Dr. Jones, what, like, did I do something wrong? Like, what
Yeah.
happened? Carl, you're awesome. We really like you. And I really feel horrible about doing this, but we found a loan officer that specializes in loans for dentists. I, I never heard of such a thing. Right. I said,
Yeah.
oh, well, God, who could blame you? Right. I could see that now, so I get it. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, we'll have the loan officer call me. All good. And I'll do a friendly handoff. Any way I can help, I'd be happy to. And I'll send over the everything I've got over to that person. And frankly, I'd like to learn a little bit about
What they're
loans
doing.
for dentists. Right?
Yeah.
I'll learn.
Yeah.
Don't be bitter. Get better.
Yeah.
So get on the phone with the dude. Said, hey brother, all good. You got it. I'm going to send everything over. But tell me a little bit about this. He said, Carl, you seem like a really nice guy. He said, so I gotta kind of pull back the curtain. I said, do it. He said, I do. I specialize in loans for dentists. And I specialize in loans for plumbers, and I
An
specialize in
attorney,
loans for
a doctor.
landscapers, and I specialize in loans for roofers and beauticians and school teachers, and on and on and went. Brother, it was
Mm.
worth the cost of this loan to learn that message, right?
Wow.
Thought that was a little, it was a little funky, right? I get it. Some people say, well, that might be not completely honest and whatnot. So whatever, but I learned from it, right? And
Man.
I learned marketing is what I learned. I
Yeah.
went, all
Yeah.
right, so this marketing stuff matters, right?
It does
Marketing
matter.
matters. And this happened, I don't know, 18 years ago. And I definitely still remember it. I'm telling it here today.
Yeah.
And so it was worth losing that loan, whatever that $2,000 or $3,000 I was going to make on that loan in today's money. What I would have gladly paid a $3,000 tuition to have learned that lesson. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned it in 15 minutes. It didn't take me a whole semester in college to learn it.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually grateful for that lesson. So it goes back. Don't be bitter, get better. And
Mm-hmm.
going through that process made me a better person. And so I could have like, hey, I don't want to live in a, and I'm not picking on this person that left this question. It's a
No,
great
no. Hey, but
question.
this is
And
real. It
in
comes
the
up
heat of the
every day.
moment, it's
Yeah.
like, God darn it, come on.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, don't
All
be
right.
bitter, get better. Don't
I
be
love it.
bitter, get better. So Steve, I want to get better. What do I do?
Hey, go to freedomplanningcall.com. I tell you, some of the things we were even talking about on the process and the structure and how do I do my Just Ask Tuesday updates. What a big part of people when you're in process, man, we'll give it to you. We'll show you some things we're doing to make sure that we're increasing the conversion, giving a great client experience, and even the scripts of how to get more and extract more out of the process. So go to freedomplanningcall.com. Carl, myself, one of our team members, Kristen, literally will invest some time with you and show you the scripts. You can screenshot them and the process, because when I'm getting better and not bitter, I'm able to tighten the things which help me increase my conversion. And once I've done that, or while I'm doing that, we go get more. So freedomplanningcall.com. We'd love to help you. And Carl, what a great episode. Get better, not bitter. And we'll see you next time. Remember this, anything we're doing is worth doing badly. Just get started. See you.